Now, here in France, a day after they clashed in a brutal television debate, presidential candidates Marine Le Pen and Emmanuel Macron are out meeting the voters. Tomorrow will be the final day of campaigning before Sunday's runoff vote. There was a hostile reception for Le Pen today, who had eggs thrown at her by angry crowds in the village of Dol de Bretagne, where she was visiting a transport plant. Macron, meanwhile, was in Albi in the south, where he visited a glassworks factory. Trade unions have grudgingly told their supporters to vote against Marine Le Pen, but they are hostile to Macron's economic programme. And here's what Macron had to say about that earlier.
I respect men and women who have opinions based on traditional ideologies like that of the CGT Union or others. I don't agree with them, but it won't stop me from working with them. We're going to a company where the CGT is very present, but managed to negotiate new agreements. There will be discussions on these labour issues. It's just that our country needs to go forward. We're the only country in the EU that hasn't managed to solve the problem of unemployment.
Well, he might not have won over the unions, but Macron has got the support of the former president of the United States, Barack Obama, explaining his reasons for supporting the centrists earlier today. Take a listen.
I have admired the campaign that Emmanuel Macron has run. He has stood up for liberal values. He put forward a vision for the important role that France plays in Europe and around the world. And he is committed to a better future for the French people. He appeals to people's hopes and not their fears. And I enjoyed speaking to Emmanuel recently to hear about his independent movement and his vision for the future of France. I know that you face many challenges, and I want all of my friends in France to know how much I am rooting for your success. Because of how important this election is, I also want you to know that I am supporting Emmanuel Macron to lead you forward. En marche. Vive la France.
Well, 16.5 million people tuned in to watch last night's encounter between Macron and Le Pen, and according to a snap poll taken right afterwards, most viewers thought Macron came off best. Well, there was a poor score for Le Pen from the fact-checkers who accuse her of misleading the public. Macron's gone one step further and is launching legal action after Le Pen implied he held an offshore bank account, something he strongly denies. Andrew Hillier has this report.
What started online as an accusation is now in the hands of French prosecutors. It began circulating 2 hours before Wednesday's fiery debate got underway. Then it was repeated by Marine Le Pen during her televised clash with Emmanuel Macron.
I hope we won't discover you have an offshore account in the Bahamas.
Her insinuation can be traced back to this website, a right-wing site called Disobedient Media. It published what it claimed was a document supposedly proving that Emmanuel Macron had an offshore account in the Bahamas. The document was then picked up by users on the internet forum 4chan before it was spread by hundreds of Russia-linked Twitter accounts with the hashtags Macron and Bahamas. But its authenticity was immediately called into question. France24's observers have closely analysed the document. The signature itself appears pixelated, suggesting that it may have been added using computer software. Macron himself was quick to quash the allegation.
I've never had an account in any tax havens whatsoever. This is typical of what we call fake news, and so Mrs. Le Pen threw that in. She's got troops on the internet preparing the groundwork.
His campaign team have filed a complaint. Prosecutors have now opened a preliminary investigation into whether fake news is being used to influence Sunday's vote.